The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah!
Go Cowboys!
This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Handoff, Elliott plowing to the goal line. Barry, sacked by Lawrence. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
And now, your hosts, Isaiah Stanback, Patrick Walker, Rob Phillips, and Kyle Yeomans.
It is a Talkin' Tuesday from the SWBC studios at the Star in Frisco here on Talkin' Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company in Frisco, Texas. We've got Patrick No C Walker. We've got Isaiah Stanback, Rob Phillips, Chris Beam in-house. I'm Kyle Yeomans. Gentlemen, how are we doing on this Tuesday?
Swell. Ready to get your mojo back?
Yeah.
Let's freaking go.
This feels like one of those days where...
Another week.
Did you have your pre-workout?
No.
Your eyes
No.
are
Am I jacked?
Are they bugging?
Yeah.
your eyes are.
I thought about it, but I didn't want to come in too hot on your boys today. You know what I mean?
Your eyes are. Your eyeballs are sitting on your cheekbones
I
right
literally
now.
at 5:45 a.m. this morning, in the middle of class, I was about to grab my energy drink, and I was like, you know what? KY might not be ready for the C4 this morning.
He couldn't handle it.
Yeah, he might not
I
be.
really could not.
Ears were burning.
Yeah, the ears were burning by the end of the show, and
Like
then
Mike Wazowski.
I got upstairs and I felt like I was going to fall over. That was not great. I didn't have anything to eat that morning too. Though.
it's a
I think
bad
that was
combo.
probably the problem with that, because I just chugged half of that C4 drink and just let energy drink ride on an empty stomach after waking up and coming to the studio.
We should get Rob P one.
That didn't work out.
Yeah. I'm good, actually.
Yeah, you got plenty of energy.
Actually,
Yeah. Huh?
You got plenty of energy. Good to go.
Wouldn't say that. If you got a 2-year-old, that's always negotiable.
That's
But,
facts. Fair. That's facts.
I'm making it. You could tell as soon as you took that thing, your pupils started just going like dilating.
Monsters.
Were they
Yeah,
pulsing or
it was Monsters Inc. style. Wazowski. How you feeling today?
I feel great today,
Good.
actually. This is probably the best I've felt in the last week, because I've been kind of kicking a cold all week long, and I've
Might
been
have been
stuffy.
allergies.
I think it was allergies, because usually every fall, like for a week, it just knocks me out. And this might have been that week, but I feel better today, so.
I had my windows open the last few days, just enjoying the coolness.
The
and
weather's
just
great.
Turn my AC off, son.
Crisp.
Yep, it's been fantastic.
Energy companies, y'all kiss my butt this month.
Best season of all
man.
four.
I agree.
It's goated.
I'm right there with you. We are going to take your calls today, 888-855-2297. You can go ahead and get in line on the phone calls. Chris Beam will answer it in the back, and then we'll talk to you and get your idea of how you're thinking this Cowboys season is going. They're at 4-2. They just fell to the Philadelphia Eagles 26-17. The final score from Lincoln Financial Field. Rob Phillips, any news and notes for us to hit today?
Nothing too much new from Jerry Jones on the Fan just a few minutes ago with Sean and RJ. He did say, kind of echoing what Mike McCarthy said yesterday about Dak's status for the week. He said Dak's determined to play, and he thinks he's going to get there. They haven't said, he's starting Sunday against the Detroit Lions, but with a good week of practice, I think that's certainly the plan. Mike said yesterday he's going to have a full throwing load on Wednesday, and that he should be cleared in time for Wednesday's practice to, do whatever he needs to do out there and get ready to play the game. So they'll just see how it goes. The other thing that stood out to me, I would say from Jerry, is he said, we're a better, in so many words, we're a better football team now than we were before Dak got hurt. So there's a better group around him. You think about the number of young guys who have played now 6 games this year, and so they're in a better spot for him coming back to make a run here.
Now, I agree with that statement. It's something that Mike McCarthy said yesterday in his press conference. Keep in mind, when Dak Prescott last played, it was week 1, and there was a lot to be figured out on the offensive side of the ball. You had to figure out the wide receiver core, which was without Michael Gallup. Tyler Smith had spent the entirety of training camp at left guard. He was being popped back out to left tackle. Conor McGovern got some reps in August at center, but now he's being moved back to definitive left guard. What's going on there? So the last time Dak Prescott was on the field for the Cowboys, there were a whole lot of question marks. But now Still have some question marks, but not as many. We know what Tyler Smith can do at left tackle. We're starting to see what Conor McGovern can be at left guard. And Jason Peters is in the mix again after returning last week from that chest injury that cost him the Los Angeles game. So it looks like the offensive line is much more set than it was back in week 1, and that's only going to work toward helping Dak Prescott get back into prime form more quickly. Now, as Isaiah, myself, Kyle, and Rob have continuously said, do we expect Dak Prescott to hit the ground running? We would love for it to happen, but we don't expect that that's going to be the case. He still has to get the timing, like Mike McCarthy said, with the offense, get the timing back with CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Noah Brown, who's basically now the definitive wide receiver 3. Obviously, that was not the case in 2021. Isaiah's doing the bug-eyed look. So I'm going to toss to Isaiah because I want to know what that looks for.
What was the
Are we questioning Noah's Ark? We're not
I
questioning
don't question
Noah's
Noah.
Ark.
I just said you said he's definitive number 3.
Yeah, he
think
is.
he's number 2?
Huh?
You think he's number 2?
Borderline one. That's what he's saying.
You think he's one? Okay, now I'm going to bug-eye you.
with the previous regime, let's say that with the rush hour.
Yeah,
he was number 1.
Yeah, but that rush hour is
the stats
is over.
I know you're not a
Lamb had like
stats guy,
30 some
but-
yards on that last drive. Like that didn't count.
IRS, we talked about this a couple weeks ago.
Prior
we were
to
talking
that,
about guys, quarterbacks, and they have their guys.
CeeDee Lamb had 4 catches for 30 some odd yards before that last catch.
He has 120 more yards and another touchdown and 13 further receptions than Noah Brown.
And more attempts probably too.
More targets? For sure. Because he's a number
QB1
one.
So you're saying that
back.
Noah Brown has a higher catch percentage?
I mean, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Let me look at the targets.
Let's be clear here. Let's
We saw just walking down that path right there, Rob.
Yeah,
I tell you what, y'all take Noah Brown, and I throw him the ball, and I'll tell you most of the time he gonna come down with it. And the times he doesn't, it's the quarterback's fault.
Is that Ricky Bobby?
I know. That was,
I don't like Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with
I don't know
my
that
hands.
in my hands.
We love Noah. We love CD.
And Noah we trust.
Absolutely. I am extremely interested to see who becomes the most targeted when QB1 comes back because last year it was
Dalton Schultz.
But something else that stuck out with Jerry's interview this morning is he said there's a quote-unquote question mark about the return of Dalton Schultz from his injury, as in will he be back on the field for the Lions, will he not? And what really stuck out was the fact that Jerry used the word surprised when he described Dalton Schultz being made inactive after, what was his practice last week? Limited, full. And then he was inactive on Sunday, which, okay. But then that led you to believe it's like, okay, well, that was unexpected for us, but they knew something. Okay, there you go. But then you hear Jerry this morning saying, well, that was a bit of a surprise. And then your eyes kind of, get wide like, okay, so what do we, okay. So interesting things. There.
He did not have an injury designation for the game.
Correct.
And what Mike said yesterday was he likened it to Dak, like he's healthy enough, but it's a timing thing. It just didn't feel right or something like that coming off this knee injury.
I'm about to read Isaiah's mind because I think we're on the same page. When Jerry said that this morning, and this is me, now I'm wondering out loud. I was wondering quietly, but let me wonder out loud.
Wonder out loud.
You got hate in your heart, let it out.
Let me wonder out loud. I'm wondering if, because we talked about one side of the coin in that it's a franchise tag year for Dalton Schultz. He can't afford to not be on the field, but then again, flip it up to the other side of the field, the other side of the coin. He cannot afford to play hurt and see his value diminished. Then you look at the last couple of games. He gets out there. He's trying to battle through it, but he's not Cooper's guy, so he's not getting the targets, which then devalues the purpose of him fighting through the injuries. So maybe, this is just me wondering out loud, maybe Dalton Schultz is like, well, you know what? Until QB1 gets back, I don't see the value in fighting through this spring PCL. And, call me when 4 is back under center. Oh. Now I'm wondering out loud.
Oh.
Okay. So that's not concrete. That's just your
that's
thought
speculation.
process.
That's me
speculation.
not even speculation.
We're building a
It's not even
conspiracy
speculation.
theory.
It's me wondering out loud.
We've talked about this before, though, around separate other positions that are looking for contract renewals, like Dalton Schultz is this season. Most of the time, even if you're banged up, you want to play because that's going to try and force your hand in negotiations
We saw it
down the
last
road
year.
as well.
You're only being asked to
Who'd you
block.
see it with last year?
Ezekiel?
That wasn't even into a contract
It's
negotiation.
a contract negotiation always.
Yeah.
It's always in a contract negotiation. You got to be able to
wrong.
You got to be able to stack those years up. So that's the reason why you saw him push through last year. Aside from the fact that he's out there trying to give it his all. I mean, let's not.
But he was
act like it's about the money.
he was still getting his handoffs.
Yeah, he was still getting his handoffs because he's a dog. So I mean, he was putting out. So it's a counter argument possibly to the situation that you're proposing right now. Zeke was out there trying to do everything he could, even though everybody in the world knew that he was banged up and he was nowhere near 100%. He was still giving you what he had.
So Dalton Schultz not available. Dak Prescott looks like he's on his way back. Anything else from news and notes yesterday?
That's kind of the ones that stuck out to me. I mean, we're in Dak mode here, but I would be shocked if he's not starting in this game Sunday. I'd
Absolutely
be
stunned.
Yeah.
So
How'd you guys think the young tight ends played in the game? Speaking
I
of
was
Schultz.
just about to ask
The
that.
answer is yes.
yes.
Elaborate
yes,
on that.
Yes.
Because I liked Ferguson as a receiver because he's been that all around.
You just like
tight
that
end.
touchdown. That's what you like.
Dude, that tight end or that touchdown was sick.
was.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
was.
I saw somebody on Twitter. I believe it was our friend Steven, who actually went to North Texas a couple years after I did, or maybe before. I can't remember.
Steve.
But he goes. He called it.
Damn you.
He called it the Jake and Bake, and I was like, "Ooh, that's good."
That was nasty.
That was.
He did a Euro step with a football.
Yeah,
I was going to say it was like James Harden style or something.
That was a Euro step with a football.
Yeah.
He
that
took
was
his,
nasty.
He took his soul.
His awareness on that was
He took his
crazy.
soul.
Yeah.
It was nasty.
But I thought he showed me something as a receiver in this game that I
Agreed.
hadn't seen yet
Agreed.
from Jake Ferguson specifically. And then I saw Peyton Hendershot show me something that we did expect from a blocking standpoint. They put him in some tough situations
Yeah, they shouldn't have.
blocking, and it did not go well on multiple occasions. I mean, I charted at least 3 or 4. I don't have my film notebook in front of me, but I had 3 or 4 snaps where Hendershot got beat and got beat bad as a blocker.
There should have been some holding calls on him.
Twice it was in max protection, and he was with Sean McEwen, and both him and McEwen just kind of got all out of sorts and just unraveled, and it didn't really look great.
And you know what? For me, that we knew that.
That's the case. That's
Right. We knew that. So it's a situation where I would lean more towards criticizing the scheme in that portion because, again, you know that Peyton Hendershot is not great at blocking. And credit to the rookie because he willingly admits it. He says he's working to get better at it. And we've seen at times over the course of this his young career, 6 weeks in, that he has had some solid blocks, but we've also seen him miss on some more than he's been solid on. But I think it's going to continue to be a progression. That's not the strength of his game. The strength of his game is the fact that he's a down-the-field threat. He's a guy who can get separation from, linebackers and defensive backs for that matter. I can't stress enough how much I love his quickness out of breaks. It is very receiver-like. It is not very tight end-like. But what you saw was, like you said, Kyle, Jake Ferguson showed you an added aspect. We knew that Jake Ferguson could make some plays as a receiver. We didn't know he had the moves, right? So if Jake Ferguson is going to start busting out the moves in addition to being at least a solid blocker, now you're really talking about, tight end 1 question mark 2023.
Yeah.
Right? That's a discussion that needs
Was
to
it
be
really
had.
a question, though? Was I the only one that was questioning that?
It's always a question until it's no longer a question.
Because I think you
It's
could
always
still
a question until it's not a question anymore.
even if Dalton Schultz does not get a long-term deal here, fine. They could still franchise him a second time. Now, he doesn't want that. He didn't want to be franchised the first time. Who does? But it is an option for the team. I mean, Dak got franchised twice. They ultimately got a deal done, but I think Tank might have gotten franchised twice. Anyway, so it's an
He
option.
did, but then he weaponized the.
That's what it was.
The shoulder, and they got the deal done. But to you guys' point, it feels like they've brought in Dalty/Jarwin 2.0 with these young guys because of what their skill sets are. And I agree with No C. Like Hendershot's receiver-like ability is more so than what Jarwin is. I think he's a better athlete than Jarwin was here.
More agile.
More agile.
I agree.
The other
I said
thing
this yesterday.
Yeah, the other thing Mike did say about him though is he's playing a little too fast. And he's gotten some penalties. That illegal motion penalty. He's
antsy.
He's a little antsy.
Yeah, you got happy feet on the line of
He's
scrimmage.
excited because he knows what he's capable of. And he knows the matchups that he has. He can beat most safeties. He can beat almost every linebacker. So when you know you have that capability and you haven't had the opportunity to show that and display that yet, you're a little hype. You're like, come on. Especially when you know you're in motion and the play is like designed. You're looking at the coverage and you're like, oh, this is coming to me. You know based upon coverage if the concept is created for you to get the ball. So him coming in motion, I bet you he was about to get the ball.
Listen, we saw the young tight ends in this game alone. We saw the young tight ends both make plays in space. Jake Ferguson on that touchdown, for example. Yeah. We saw them high point catches, like Ferguson really climb the ladder. Yeah. Fergie again. And when it comes to the blocking prowess or lack thereof at the moment of Peyton Hendershot, you know what you got there. It's a work in progress. But the fact that he can do what he can do as a receiver complements Jake Ferguson's ability to both block and be a receiver very, very well. And
he impressed me this game.
Yeah, and keep an eye out on Sean McEwen. He's still developmental, but he showed some things. So, yeah.
So 2 stats really jumped off the page to me about Jake Ferguson following this one. Ferguson is the first Cowboys rookie tight end to catch a touchdown pass since the late Gavin Escobar did in 2013.
Oh, rest in peace, Gav.
Yeah. So that one first off jumped off because it was Gavin Escobar, but also it had been 9 years since the Cowboys had a rookie tight end catch a touchdown pass. Even longer because Jake Ferguson's 4 receptions on Sunday night were the most in a single game by a Cowboys rookie tight end since one Jason Witten had 5 catches in 2003 as a rookie.
Witten.
So you had Witten in 2003 and then Gavin Escobar in 2013. And Jake Ferguson's among both of those.
Is there an asterisk Euro step in the record books now?
You got to put it
like
in.
a stat book.
Asterisk with the Euro step.
With.
The question is
www//
The question is, do you think Fergie was practicing that in the mirror up to this point? He was just waiting for his opportunity.
That was sweet, man.
He was just at
if
home
he does
in
it
the
again,
mirror
it'll be a
week.
signature of his. Like that, you know how they have like the Dirk shirts where he's like leaning backwards and then the Jordan logo and stuff. It'd be the Ferguson like Euro step. That'd be his signature move.
Nice.
Love it.
He needs to go ahead and coin that. You're welcome, Jake. If you listen to Talkin Cowboys, you would make some money.
10%.
All right, when we come back here on Talkin Cowboys, we're taking your calls to 888-855-2297, 888-855-2297. We'll hear your pulse of Cowboys Nation coming up here on the other side of the break with more Talkin Cowboys presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company right after this.
When you build, you start with the foundation. And home ownership is a foundation of a stable future. The Bank of America Community Home Ownership Commitment has helped over 34,000 people lay the groundwork so far, with up to $10,000 towards your down payment or 3% of the purchase price, whichever is less. The satisfaction of owning your own place can become a reality. Visit bankofamerica.com/homeowner to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America N.A. Equal Housing Lender. Credit and collateral is subject to approval. Restrictions apply. This is not a commitment to lend.
Lil Sweet! Did you get to work on time?
Yeah, but I just realized it's Sunday.
Lil Sweet says head on home. Dr. Pepper's on its way. So sweet, unique. Baby, there's nothing better. I bet you've probably done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper. Did you invest your nest egg in an NFT?
Yeah, and I don't even know what that is. It's a non-fungible token.
Everyone's on something that deserves a Dr. Pepper.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Are you ready to take coffee off your grocery list forever? Black Rifle Coffee Club is here to help. As a coffee club member, you'll get your favorite coffees roasted, packaged, and shipped to your door free of charge on your preferred schedule. Set it, forget it, and never run low on coffee again. Members also get exclusive deals on coffee, products, and discounts from partner brands. Ease your mind and let Black Rifle worry about your coffee supply. Go to blackriflecoffee.com to join the coffee club today.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Back here on Talkin Cowboys, getting set to take your calls, 888-855-2297, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company. And you know what goes great with coffee, Isaiah?
What's that, Kyle?
Well, Miller Lite is brought to you to bring...
Right.
What?
It's proud to bring you the G Barbecue Fest Dallas, located at the Miller Lighthouse at AT&T Stadium. Join your Cowboys.
It's not G, I don't think. You said
It's
G.
Q. I meant Q. It's the Q Barbecue Fest Dallas at Miller Lighthouse at AT&T Stadium. Join your Cowboys from November 4th through 6th for some of the best barbecue in the entire country. Get your tickets today. SeatGeek.com, the official ticketing provider of AT&T Stadium.
Your stomach's gonna be bubbling so bad.
Sounds like a terrible decision.
Beer flavored coffee.
That mix sounds
I
like
bet
a
you Black
terrible
Rifle
decision.
could make that taste good. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, man.
Oh, that was funny.
What would they call it, though?
Ooh.
Bubbling brown sugar.
Yes.
The BGs. That's what they call it. The BGs.
That's what it's going to be.
BQs from Barbecue Fest Dallas. I'm going to have to get my tickets to that. We got to figure out. Did we get a hookup with that?
With
G Barbecue Fest?
I bet.
We got to get a hookup.
Go upstairs and ask.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to.
Kyle is going full Master P. He wants to hook up.
Ooh, you're exactly right. I definitely do. All right, we're taking our calls, talking to Cowboys Nation here on this Talkin' Tuesday. We'll start things off with our guy Anthony in Miami, going down to the 305. Anthony, you're back on Talkin' Cowboys. How's it going?
What's up, guys? I appreciate y'all letting me get this back to back. I'm going to night shift for a couple of months, so I'm gonna miss out on y'all and my other crew hanging. So, can I do my Christmas wish list right now, please?
Yeah,
please.
Sure. Okay. I wish my head coach would kind of channel his inner Jimmy Johnson and Bill Parcells and kind of get mad at these players when they commit the silly penalties. You know what I'm saying? The costly penalties. I mean, come on, you got to show some kind of emotion, man, and I mean, they're costing us, so it can't continue to happen. And you say we're working on it and we're getting better. So that's a problem for me, and I hope we fix it. I hope and wish my quarterback, the love besides the woman love of my life, the other love of my life, Dak Prescott, comes back healthy and does what he's supposed to do and leads this team. And I need three phases, the defense, the special teams, and the offense to show up every game. I don't want to hang my hat on the defense. I don't want to hang my hat on the offense like we did last year. I don't want to hang my hat on the special teams. I want all three to show up. And I believe with that and that formula, we can do damage. And to watching the show yesterday, I heard some things with Isaiah and Patrick. Both of you guys made good points. But I kind of tend to side with Patrick on the fact that I wasn't too impressed with Philly. I'm sorry. I don't think they throttled off Isaiah. I don't think they did, because when you're at 2017, it's no throttling off. I mean, you got a backup quarterback that did this with 3 turnovers, and we were in the game. So let's just go ahead and in Dallas and beat the brakes off them next time. All right, guys, talk to y'all in the new year, man.
Sounds good, Anthony.
Thanks,
good luck
Anthony.
with the night shift, and you'll have to, I guess, watch it on demand, which we love having you live. But great call, Rob. Did he miss anything on this Christmas wish list? Because I thought it sounded pretty good to me.
No, he nailed it. Stop the penalties, tackle better. Like, that's been their calling card on this defense, and that's what they talked about all week, was we have to tackle, we have to tackle, we have to tackle. Didn't Dan Quinn, I think he said they missed 10?
Yeah, he said they missed 10, same as the same number as they had against the Giants. And he said they were, as a defense, they were pissed. That was that's what Dan Quinn led with in his press conference yesterday. He said, we're pissed. You don't get, and these are his quotes, you don't get a pat on the back for being halfway successful. He said he wants his unit to be a kick-ass crew front to back the entirety of the game, not have weak points. And he really, really started harping on what Isaiah was talking about on yesterday, as far as the being close, getting within 2017, and then allowing that touchdown drive to kind of put the game away for Philly. He really harped on that. And you could kind of see, even though, DQ has a mostly calm demeanor, you could see the flames in him a little
bit of fire.
Yeah, he was, and he said it yesterday. He said, guys, I know 99.9% of the time I'm half glass full and I'm an optimist. He was like, but I get pissed off too. And that, end quote, he's like, and I get pissed off too. So, ladies and gentlemen, DQ is he's pissed. So you might see that against the Detroit Lions this Sunday.
What do you think, Isaiah?
I think that my man's is used to getting a lot of Christmas gifts, because I only got one wish.
What's that?
Growing up.
What's your wish?
My wish for the Dallas Cowboys is to score points. That's my wish for the Dallas Cowboys. Score points.
It's coming.
You know, and I know a lot of people are like, people don't have to agree with me. That's why we all have our own, opinions. But Dallas, how can I say this, KY?
By saying it.
They're struggling offensively still.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's not okay. And I know everybody's excited because Dak's coming back, but the reality is, what we have seen from Dak this year isn't much more than what we've seen from Cooper Rush this year. So, I mean, I know it's only one game dose that we had of him, but we scored how many points in that game?
Three.
Yeah. So I get it. Everybody's getting their quarterback back, and they're excited, and they're hyped, and they're talking about the possibilities and things that he's done in the past. But from what we've seen this year, we still can only base it off of what we've seen this year.
So are you saying tap the brakes on the Dak is back bandwagon and let's not ride this thing into ride it off of a cliff?
Be excited that your QB1 is back. I mean, who wouldn't be excited that your starter is back and your main guy? I mean, he's your most valuable asset that you have in this organization at the player position. There's no doubt about that. But let's not act like we were lighting up the scoreboard when he was present. He had a full healthy offseason.
Yeah.
Full camp. Full OTAs, came in and scored. We scored 3.
Yeah. And down the stretch last year, the offense wasn't nearly as good as they were before the bye week last year. Although he did finish with 35 touchdown passes last year.
I'm just a realist. I don't lean on either side of the fence. I'm just saying, what we've seen isn't what it's been.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people are with the expectation that it's going to be back to early last season, lighting up the scoreboard and all these yards. It's like I don't think that it's going to be that much of a light switch immediately. At least
I hear you, and you make great points. I'm excited about him coming back into the formula that they've created offensively. I think they're doing a better job scheming things up to whoever's the quarterback to have success. And I've heard this in the last couple of weeks with Cooper Rush in here. It's like, well, but Dak's making this much money. Why should they run kind of this run first offense and play to your defense if he's supposed to be the guy and all that? Hey, man, Troy Aikman had a running game. Troy Aikman had a hell of a defense. Yep. Troy Aikman had a hell of an offensive line. Like, how's it working out for Aaron Rodgers right now without kind of the same pieces he's used to playing with in the past? It's okay to have a good system around a quarterback. Yeah. I'm excited about what I think they've found that can work with Dak coming in as a better player to run that offense.
Yeah. You know what scares me a little bit about this game coming up, and we'll dive into this on Wednesday and Thursday. I got this gut feeling. Uh-oh. It's bubble guts. It's the barbecue and the Miller Lite. Oh. It's you look at the coffee and Miller Lite, I guess I should say. Barbecue and Miller Lite actually sounds great. It feels like last year. It feels like you come off of that Minnesota game. Now, you won the Minnesota game with Cooper Rush. You came off of a big win. It was a huge game in prime time. This one you didn't win. But then what happened the week after that? Denver Broncos came into town. You had back-to-back home games against teams that were winnable games, Denver and Atlanta. You felt like, oh, okay, we're fine. We're getting Dak back. We're going to win this game, or we're going to win it by 100. It's not going to happen. That's what this reminds me of. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a big-time primetime game on the road. Then you have back-to-back games at home against winnable opponents. You get Dak Prescott back for the first one, and you're going to beat the Lions by 100. Don't count out this game as a close game.
Well,
don't do it.
First and foremost, and I've said this at several points when we were doing our Friday predictions when it comes to the Lions, and I'm a huge fan of Dan Campbell. And if you're a Cowboys fan, you should be a fan of Dan Campbell as well. But he has the Lions as scrappy. Like, you saw what happened last week. Okay, fine. You saw what happened, before they went into the bye week. Not pretty. But this is a Lions team that can push you to the limit, and they will scratch, and they will claw, and they will bite at your kneecaps and try to get the win if at all possible. So, and I kind of adopting and accentuating, I should say, as Isaiah's point is, you have to respect these opponents. And the Lions, it could be viewed as a trap game, but again, I don't view that there's a such thing when you have a Micah Parsons on your defense, and especially Micah Parsons coming off of a loss.
Is he a fully healthy Micah Parsons? That's my biggest question in that regard.
That's fair. But the good thing about the Cowboys defense and a pissed off Dan Quinn is that they operate as a whole unit, right? So it's not overtly dependent upon Micah Parsons having to be that dude on any given week. If he is, then it's that much more dominant. If he's not, somebody else will likely step up in his place and help. And, he's still going to cause disruptions, so forth and so on. The question just goes back to can the offense hit the ground running, or at least continue to do what they've been doing? Don't get away from leaning on the run. Lean on the run with Ezekiel Elliott, Tony Pollard. Let your offensive line kind of try to set the tone so that you can set up a play action. And the Lions' pass rush is not teeing off or trying to tee off against your quarterback who just got back into the game. So is this a winnable game? It absolutely is.
Sure.
Are the Cowboys going to rout them by 100? Stop that. That's nonsense. This is the NFL. Those guys get paid too. But it's a game that the Cowboys should win handily if they're operating on all cylinders and play mistake-free football.
And we'll dive into the details of that tomorrow and then Thursday and Friday even for Say It With Your Chest Friday as well. But let's go out to Bob in Nashville. Bob, you're back on Talkin' Cowboys. How's it going?
Hey, great fellas. Great conversation, Kyle. You hit the nail on the head with me. So one of the things I was calling about was, listen, the Philadelphia game, okay, it's over with. It's one game. Let's move on. We need to get these next two games going into the bye.
Yep.
So we're 6-2, and we need to focus on those two games and getting better offensively.
Science.
I think that's the key, not looking back and lamenting about Philadelphia. But just going back to some of the points you made earlier, I really want to keep Conor McGovern in at the left guard, and I want to keep using these young tight ends. I think you got something with those people. I think we need to not put in, maybe Jason Peters, maybe just have him as a backup right now. Just let this guy grow and mature and develop with this line. And also same thing with the tight ends. I think they're good enough to replace Schultz, and let's wait till he's healthy completely and then spot him in. But I like the youth movement, and I want to continue with that down the road. I just want to hear your thoughts on that. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate you, Bob. And he brings up the concerns of multiple people. I know Nate Newton across the way is saying, put one of them in, pick it, and go, which right now, if that was the case, it would be Conor McGovern. It wouldn't be Jason Peters. Jason Peters with just the 4 snaps. I even asked McCarthy about that yesterday in the press conference, and he was like, well, Peters didn't play enough to really warrant a thought process or an evaluation. But I know, Isaiah, you've been big on the Peters bandwagon. Has that shifted at all over the last couple weeks?
It has. He hasn't been as – when he has been in the game, I haven't seen enough out of him. I think that first game he came in and made some really good blocks running-wise. But overall, I don't know. I think he needs to be in more consistently in order to even get comfortable with this unit.
And is Conor McGovern playing poor enough to where you can – constitute a replacement? I really don't think he has.
He's not. And and to Nate's point, when you're rotating offensive linemen in, it's the one position in football that, aside from the specialists, that don't have substitutes. So it's kind of odd. It's kind of odd that you're rotating these guys in and you expect them to all be productive and effective when they need to work in solidarity together. So it's just a bad situation. So I agree. Either you go with McGovern. I like them both, but I like Peters better. But I haven't seen enough of him consistently, and he hasn't seen enough of himself consistently. You can't go in there in 4 plays and make an impact as a lineman, man. It just sucks.
It was a good question by Babe Laufenberg because he followed up on your question. And he said, I imagine the plan wasn't to just give him only 4 plays. And he said, well, third series was the plan, and then we revisit in the second half, but they didn't go back to him. So I'm not sure, but I'm kind of with Nate. Like, it's just unusual to have a rotation on the offensive line. That's just not common. So I think I wonder if by now they were expecting Jason Peters to probably be the starter, and it just hasn't worked out that way yet. Mm-hmm. Maybe the injury set him back a little bit. We'll see.
I think that was the case. I think exactly right, Rob. I think the Cowboys felt that the timing of signing Jason Peters and, the timing they needed to ramp him up, because they were basically saying, well, September was training camp for Jason Peters. Yeah. Okay, well, now we're going into late October. The chest injury obviously set him back. And then you have to wonder, when he got in against the Eagles, maybe they saw that he was still kind of struggling, holding his blocks, probably because of the residuals coming from that chest injury. But nonetheless, here we are 2 weeks away from the bye. Conor Mcgovern has played well enough to remain the starter. So my thought process is you already know what you have in Tyler Smith. You just continue to, develop Peters in the system, so that should McGovern take a step back at the wrong time, taking a step back, then you say, okay, we're going to do a full swap. But I'm with Big Nate. Stop the rotation. I think we're at the point in the season where it needs to be solid, especially with your injured, your healed QB1 coming back from injury. It needs to be a solid 5 in front of him.
And with a left tackle that's a rookie too.
Right.
I mean, he's been playing well. I really like what Tyler Smith has done. Sure, he's given up sacks. He's given up pressures. Everybody does whenever they're a rookie playing at left tackle. Mm-hmm. But he's really done well from a standpoint of growing. He'll grow even more and even quicker whenever he's got a steady guy to the right side of him as well. And Conor McGovern's played better than Jason Peters at this point. It's been a super small sample size, but Conor McGovern's played better. So let's keep that in mind. All right, let's take our second break. We're going to still take some calls, 888-855-2297. We'll maybe have time for one or two more when we come back with more Talkin' Cowboys presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Black Rifle Coffee Company serves premium coffee to people who love America. When you drink Black Rifle coffee, you are directly supporting veterans, law enforcement, and first responders in your community. Black Rifle's expert roasters love coffee almost as much as Texas loves football, so it makes sense that America's Coffee partnered with America's team. Go online at blackriflecoffee.com and fuel up with the official coffee of the Dallas Cowboys. That's blackriflecoffee.com to fuel up today.
Lil Sweet! Did you get to work on time?
Yeah, but I just realized it's Sunday.
Lil Sweet says head on home. Dr. Pepper's on its way. So sweet, unique. Baby, there's nothing better. I bet you've probably done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper. Did you invest your nest egg in an NFT?
Yeah, and I don't even know what that is. It's a non-fungible token.
Everyone's done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Back to Talkin' Cowboys.
Get the ultimate fan experience for the ultimate Dallas Cowboys fan. You can join Dallas Cowboys United, presented by Globe Life, starting at just $20. Join now and get your fan pack. You get some exclusive benefits and a whole lot more. Visit dallascowboys.com/united for details and to join today. Welcome back into Talkin' Cowboys, presented by Black Rifle Coffee Company. Here from the Star in Frisco.
Too much Miller Lite in his coffee.
Yeah, that's too much of it this morning.
Black Rifle and Miller Lite, buddy, is a heck of a combo. Woo!
I'm glad I was able to draw you guys into that.
Bubbly.
That was a nice change-up from the mound.
It was nice, right?
A nice change-up.
Excellent.
All right, let's go to Irvin in Denver. We're going all around the country this morning. Irvin, how's it going? You're on Talkin' Cowboys.
I'm doing good, guys. Thanks for having my call. Was listening to you guys a little bit yesterday, actually, for the whole show, and I 100% agreed with Patrick yesterday. There was a point in that game when we got to 20-17. I think Philadelphia realized after Lane Johnson had gotten hurt and they lost their starting guard, too, that they were kind of placed on the ropes, by our defense. At that point, I really think we were taking control of that game. They realized to get back to their run game, which they did, and I was kind of hoping that our defense would have adjusted to that and kind of stopped that run. That whole drive really kind of shut the game for us. So that's all I really got to say. I want to know what you guys think about that. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Irvin. Appreciate your call from Denver. And, 2-0, I guess, if we're keeping
Listen,
score
the
here.
wisdom is strong within these callers.
Irvin, I appreciate your call, sir. I respect you as a Dallas Cowboys fan and avid Talking Cowboys listener, loyal. However, typically when you make a statement saying that a team was in control, if you're in control and you're seemingly stopping teams, moving the ball, whatever it might be, you just have that confidence that you're going to win the game. Because if you're in control, you feel like as if you're going to win the game.
Yeah, right.
Then you don't get the ball ran on you 11 straight times all the way down the field and then get a touchdown. You're not in control. If you can't stop a team from running the ball 11 straight times, that's me controlling you. If I want to control you, if I'm playing Madden, I'm going to hand the ball off because you can't stop it.
It sticks.
Right?
Hey.
You can't freaking stop it. If I'm playing the wing T, why was the wing T so good back in the day?
Can't stop it.
Can't freaking stop it.
Too many
Why am I
options.
going to put it in the air and give you an opportunity when it's a higher precision, it's a higher chance that I'm going to turn the ball over, put it in the air. I can keep it on the ground and just move the chains. If you can't stop me from moving the chains on the ground, you are never in control. So regardless of what the score was, regardless of what your sweet little emotions feel like, everybody out here, you were never in control of that game. Yes, you closed the gap, but what did Philly do? Philly said, all right, well, let's go back to doing what we know we were doing well. I don't know why we were trying to throw the ball ahead of her a little while ago, but let's go back and hand this thing off again and again.
Just like Novocaine.
Again.
Good time always works.
So I hear you. I want to be on board, but I can't be on board. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm going to tell you the truth. Regardless of how bad that medicine tastes, Dallas was not in control. It just felt good because the score looked good.
Rebuttal coming.
All right, so I'm all for rubbing the tussin on it, right? Get some tussin on there. I'm going to get some tussin on there.
Yeah.
I disagree, again, in that they were never in control because control is a moment-to-moment thing. So what you're saying is that they regained control by running the ball 11 straight times. But they did actually lose control by allowing the Cowboys to score 17 straight points and make it a 3-point affair.
Tomato.
No, it's not tomato. It's tomato pumpkin. Shouts out to Kyle.
Hey,
think about it this way: if we're in a vehicle and I don't have control of the vehicle in that moment, right? You're taking us all over the place. You're all over the lanes, and I'm just along for the ride. That's in that moment.
Yes.
Now, what if in the next moment I grab the wheel, put us back in the lane, and now we're going where I want us to go? In that moment, I'm in control. But then
I don't
equate that analogy to what happened then with the 11 straight runs. That's you grabbing the wheel again and saying, no, I'm taking control back. So my whole point is there was a point in that game that the Cowboys were in control and threatened to come back and win. And the Eagles, to their credit, they regained control, but that them regaining control doesn't delete the fact that the Cowboys actually took it from them at some point, which made that a winnable game before they allowed the Eagles.
I see what you did there.
That's all I'm saying.
I see your point, and I raise your point.
Tomato pumpkin.
So if I want to, it's cool outside.
Why am I the pumpkin?
It's cool outside.
Spices.
I keep my
Spice.
I keep my thermostat. I keep my thermostat set at about 72 in the crib. Okay,
You're
set
a
at about
monster.
72. Is that warm?
Yes.
No, that's good.
You're
That's
a
cool. That's cool
monster.
for me. 72 in the crib.
70.
All right, so
70, easy.
now I don't want to use my AC. Right, so I prop the windows open like Debo. Right, I crack the windows open. I'm like, you know what? I need the outside to regulate the temperature on the inside. I'm gonna try something different. Okay, I'm gonna try something different. I know the AC works, but I don't want to run that thing. Right, so I'm gonna go ahead and prop this window open. Hopefully my temperature regulates on the inside.
your allergies
but guess
start
what?
acting up.
Guess what? Exactly what? Exactly. So 2:00 this morning, my allergies started acting up. Right, and it wasn't the temperature that I needed set on the thermostat. So what did I do? I went back to I know what works. I closed the doggone window and I turned the AC back on, and guess what? It regulated again.
Right.
That's
You
what the
lost
Philadelphia
control.
Eagles did. The Philadelphia
You
Eagles
lost
tried
control.
something different. They said,
and lost
this ain't
control.
working. This ain't working. So I'm going to go back to what I know works because they can't stop it.
I'm just saying, the never that you said, that's...
I get you.
Here I am sitting right in the middle of this argument again because I agree with things that Patrick's saying because they had a chance to win that football game.
Yes.
That was a winnable football game.
Had Philadelphia kept doing what they were doing.
But I also agree with Isaiah in the fact that I don't think Dallas ever had control. At that same moment in the ball game that Patrick's talking about, they had a chance to take control, and they didn't. They had a chance to stop Philadelphia there, and they didn't. That's where I sit in this argument, because I think it was a winnable game if you would have retaken control, but Philly was in control of that game all the way through. It's hard for me to say a team is in control when you're down at any point in the ball game. Really, you have to take the lead or have a chance to go take the lead for me to say that you're in control.
I don't fully agree with that because I go back to the Super Bowl against Atlanta, right? Yeah, we're on the same page on that one. But Rob P, if you're the offensive coordinator,
that was the most extreme case, and even then I don't agree with that.
But who did you feel like was in control of the game?
When you got to overtime, it was Tom Brady.
No, but
it was a tie ball
even when
game.
they were down, you still felt like New England was in control of that game, even with them down. You just knew. You felt it. I felt it. I don't know what you felt besides from the bubble gut.
Everybody knows, but there's a shift of control that's coming. You can feel a shift of control that would be
you can
coming.
feel the momentum shift.
But that's not the same as actually being in control.
So feelings versus
you got to
reality.
control your own destiny in that
right.
moment. For you to be in control. If you're down by 3, but you can drive and take the lead, I would call that in control.
Can I ask you a
if
question?
you're down by more than a touchdown, or if you're down by a certain amount of points that keep you out of that, then I don't think
I know we got to
that's
go off because it's 10:02, but Rob P, I want you to be offensive coordinator. Okay? Your team's up. Okay? You've had success running the ball. You've had success throwing the ball. Right? You're in 4-minute offense. What are you doing 4-minute offense, Rob P, if you want to control the rest of the game?
I'm doing what I do best, and for the Eagles, it's the RPO stuff and running the ball and trying to control the clock.
Thank you very much.
And that's what they did, and they were the better team, and some of that was self-inflicted by Dallas. They were the better team in that particular game. I think the Cowboys defensively can play so much better than they did. Some of that is what Philly does that is a pain in the ass for anybody to play against, and that's why I think I agree with both of you guys, because I think Philly's legit. I think they're going to be a challenge for everybody they play. The question that they're going to run into, though, at some point, and maybe it's Dallas on Christmas Eve, when teams can keep up with them scoring-wise and take the RPO out of it a little bit, that they haven't run into that yet. Yeah. That's going to be the key. And if they don't stay healthy offensively.
Closing argument, the one thing I disagree with you're saying is,
so why are you closing argument to me?
Because you
we can go over.
You made the point. You made the point. I'll simply quote Coldplay, and then I'll toss it over to you. Just because you're losing doesn't mean that you've lost. So if you're in that being said,
that's not what I'm saying.
No, you're saying that you don't envision that a team can be in control
unless they control their own destiny. That's what it's literally in the saying, control your own destiny. Which, if you're down by a score or more, then you don't control your own destiny.
Disagree.
You can get back into it, sure, but you're not in control of that football game.
By taking control, that's the only way you get back into it.
But you're not in control. You would have to take it in the present, and then you're in control.
And it was taken in the moment, which is how they got 17 consecutive points.
They didn't have the ball.
Have you ever had Black Rifle?
They didn't have the ball. In that point, they gave the ball. The ball was with Philadelphia. All right. Hey, real quickly, I'm taking control of this podcast back.
You okay, Kyle?
I'm taking control back.
In the moment.
Al in the DMV is calling, and I believe this is a first-time caller, so I want to get to him before the end of the show. Al, how's it going? You're on Talkin Cowboys.
Chris is going to be so mad at us.
Doing great, fellas. I love your show. I love the Cowboys. I've been a Cowboy fan for 56 years. Real quick, I know we're coming to the end of this show. I feel as if they were flat coming out. I've watched the Cowboys for 56 years. They were flat. And I think the reason they were flat, which they didn't really have an excuse because it was a divisional game, but coming off the Rams, I think they put it all out there and they started flat, got behind. I don't think Philadelphia is better. I think that we did not make the defensive adjustments that we needed to make on the play to Brown, where Michael was put in a predicament where he had to play pickle. And to me, we should have adjusted. They ran that play early. They beat us on it, and they came back to it a couple times, and they beat us on it. And I do not lastly blame Cooper Rush because that last pass to CD would have been 6 had we had good protection. That's it. I love you guys. Have a good day.
Thanks, Al. Appreciate you calling. Appreciate you listening. He brings up it's almost the counter argument of a couple things that we had talked about previously, because Cooper Rush had put it into situations on multiple occasions that didn't necessarily work out in his favor, but he didn't have a ton of help around him at the same time that really allowed him to be successful. For instance, Brandon Graham coming off the edge and just flattening Cooper Rush as he was trying to let go of that football. It had an effect on the throw. It really did. Yeah. In that occasion specifically. Mm-hmm. You okay?
No, it sure did. No, it did. I think we got to give the Eagles credit for making things tough on the Cowboys. I don't think the Cowboys solely beat themselves in this game, but I can't wait to see the rematch.
You got to put at least some of it on Wentworth. Those sailed passes. Yeah. He had an inaccurate day.
There is an arm talent level that's going to rise with Dak being back.
Correct.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Correct.
Well, we're going to talk about that tomorrow.
Are we?
That? Yeah. It's the Cowboys and it's the Lions. We're turning the page, gentlemen. We're putting this one in the rearview mirror. We're not going to let the Eagles beat us twice. It's not going to happen. You're not going to let them beat you twice. You're going to go into this week and you're going to be well prepared. At least we are as a show here on Talking Cowboys. For Chris Beam, Rob Phillips, Isaiah Stanback, Patrick No-C Walker, I'm Kyle Yeoman saying so long from the Star in Frisco. We'll see you tomorrow with more Talking Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!